Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. Holland's Classroom, where today we're going to be doing UFLI lesson 67B, day 1, where we're talking about closed syllable with a closed syllable. In 67A, we talked about compound words, which is like one word and another word, and you combine them to make a new word. We're not doing that. So we'll talk about closed syllable words here in a second. So let's take a look at where we're going to start. We're doing phonemic awareness practice, which means we're going to blend. And so we're going to take two closed syllables and put them together. So when I go you go un. T il till. Until. Good. Let's try that with one more. Sub. Jact. Jact. Subject. Good. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to segment. So when I say a word like napkin, you say napkin, and we're going to actually chop it out. Napkin. Okay, so let's do nap. Napkin. K-in. Okay, good. Now let's do it with object. Say object. Object. Let's chop it out. Object. Those are syllables. So object. Okay, good. If you want to do the hand thing, you can, but it's easier when you're working with your hands, splitting them and doing all that. All right, we're moving on to our visual drills. So our visual drills, you will see the grapheme or the picture, and you tell me what it says. So the first one is A, which could also say T or D. Good. Next one. G or J. K or S. A or A. I or I. O or A. E or A. U or U or Okay, good. Or K. Or Awesome. Now we're doing auditory drill. My friends have their marker boards, and so when I say a phoneme, you tell me which grapheme it is. So when I say phoneme, phoneme means sound. Phone, like you're talking, it's a sound. So phoneme, so if I say what letter says d, 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 or what grapheme picture says d, 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 most of you are going to go, oh, well that's D. But it could also be ED. Both of these can say d, d, d. Let's try again. How about what can say s, s? What grapheme do we write to say s? You guys are like, oh yeah, that's S. But we've also learned about SS, and we've also learned that C with an E can say s. All right, let's try it 2 more times. What grapheme can say J, J, J? So you're like, oh, J, jug, J. Okay, I know that. But what about GE can say J, J, J as well? All right, and then the last one I'm going to do is what can say you. You guys are like, oh, that's so easy. You literally just said the letter. Because that is a long U. That's a macron. Don't worry about that. But long U can say you. Usually we learn that it's ooh or you. So when I say you, like you're like, wait, you's in a word? Well, what if I wrote this word? It's not ooze, it's use. Good. All right, erase your boards. We're going to move into our blending board right now, where I'm going to make some words for us to read. So the first word is sub, which is short for subscribe. Anywho, so we have sub, and now we have I don't hear you all.
Grab, can, band,
This one is a nonsense word. So if you're like, wait, what's that? Bond is a nonsense word. Sometimes you need to know nonsense words. But anyway, bond. What about? That's my brother. What about this? And what about? Also a nonsense word, but actually this is a syllable that can go after words like cement. But anyway, meant, and then we change it to met, and then and then good, very good. Now we're going to move into our final section for the day where we are doing our new concept. So we're talking about syllables, so let's take a look. Our closed syllables have short vowel sounds. A says a, E says e, I says it, O says ah, U says It's short vowels because the consonant is after it, closing it in. So sometimes we see, especially like if you're in kindergarten or first grade, a lot of the words that you work with are CVC words. The consonant and the consonant closed it in. Now, sometimes there's words that don't have a consonant right here, but because there's one at the end of it, it is a short vowel. So we're gonna move on and take a look at our compound words. This was the last lesson, so this is a review. So when I say sunset, I'm going to chop it out. Sunset. Okay, so I could draw a line right there. To closed syllable syllables, or yeah, closed syllables and putting them together, like den and tist. Den, okay, but den, that's where like the fox lives. Okay, it's where the fox lives, sure. What's a tist? There's no such thing as a tist. This doesn't have meaning. Compound words are words that have two words that mean something. What we're working with is just two syllables put together. Den might mean something, but tist doesn't mean anything. So it's not, oh, a den is where a fox sleeps, and then a tist is this, so that means something where a tist sleeps? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't always work like that. Sometimes two syllable words just need word parts, and it doesn't have any meaning. So dentist, dentist. E, see it upside down? You guys remember what that is? That is a schwa. So a schwa is when the vowel that's in the word doesn't make the sound that we have learned it to. So let's take a look. So like S or ed, like lunches and ended, make their sound. So all of these vowels can be a schwa. We usually see them when we're talking about our heart words or our irregular words. That's what makes them irregular, is because if we try to sound it out, it's like, that doesn't make the right sound. That's what we're talking about here with schwa. So about is one of them. So that's an A. So it shouldn't say ab, ut, bot. That doesn't sound right, does it? Because these make different vowel sounds. B, out, about. Okay, move on. See that? Schwa. Move on. Let's clap out this word. Distant. Oh, wait a minute. Distant? And we learned that the A and the N go in. So isn't that distant? Distant? That doesn't sound right, does it? So let's take a look at where the schwa is, right here. Distant. It sounds like tent. Distant. Or this actually sounds like a D too. Distant, when people talk like that. But distant. It sounds like an E. That's what makes it a schwa. Moving on. Clap it out. Below. B. That's got an open syllable, so it makes it a long sound. But the reason why they're saying it's a schwa is because when you say below, usually people say b, like below. Or b, I, like an I, below, b, I. That says S, so it should say bellow. It's bellow. Bellow has two L's. That's why it gets confusing, but that's what a schwa is. A schwa is a vowel that makes a different sound than what it's supposed to. Bellow. Okay, what about this? Pencil. Show us the schwa. We learned about this in school, and I don't know that there's a UFLI lesson that has this. You'll know like the control L syllables has like L-E-E-L-A-L-I-L. This is one of them, but because it doesn't even say anything. Pencil. It sounds like the S and the L sound. Pencil. It makes an S sound because of the I, but you don't even hear the I. It's not pensile. It's not pencil. Pencil. No one says pencil. That doesn't sound right. That's what makes it a schwa. Okay, cool. Moving on. One more. Ribbon. 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 No, rib in. It. That's a schwa. Moving on. Vinyl. Vinyl. You don't even hear the Y in there. It's the same with that I in pencil. Vinyl. You hear N and L, but you don't hear that because it's making a different sound. So moving on. Here's all of our schwas. And you're like, those are just all the vowels. Yes, because every vowel can be used as a different sound or phoneme certain times. That's why we practice our irregular words, which will be in the lesson for tomorrow. But we're all done for today, so let's read. Man, I totally screwed that up. Back up. Back up more. Anyway. All of our vowels here are schwas because all of them can be used in different ways, and that's why we practice our irregular words, which we will do tomorrow. But for now, we're going to finish up. So let's move into our reading. So watch me read. Until. Second. Okay, you guys try with me. Absent. Picnic. Denim. Contest. Chicken. Subject. Children. Sentence. Okay. Now, when you're chopping, don't hurt anybody. You just got to be safe. But it's kind of good for your hands to kind of help you chop the words in half. Sentence. Okay. We're at the end, so give yourselves a round of applause. Pat on the back. Kiss on the brain. We will see you next time. Bye, everyone.